This is Inside the Beehive, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of Team Visma Lease a Bike.
Welcome to Inside the Beehive, the off-season tape. Is it a podcast? Is it a video interview? You decide. But in any case, it's recorded in our team bus. We talk to some of the main protagonists of Team Visma Lease a Bike of the past cycling season. And in this episode, we sit down with Wout van Aert, winner of the most spectacular stage in both the Giro d'Italia and the Tour de France this season. We talk about his spring campaign from Cecchi Skenderij to Piazza del Campo and some wet roads in Paris.
Inside the Beehive.
There, I said it, but I don't think it's too controversial to state that the man I am currently sitting next to has won the most spectacular stage in both Giro and Tour de France of 2025. We'll get to that later, but first, Wout, how does it feel to be back in the place where you spent so much time during the season? You have spent some less time there the past months, but yeah, how does it feel?
It's always cool to come back in a bus, and like you mentioned, it's a place where we spend way more time than a lot of people think, I guess. So usually I have that seat over there with a nice front view, and in general in HPC here in the headquarters of the team, coming back to all the people after a couple of easy months, it's really nice.
Let's talk about 2025. We're now December 2026. You look fit. You've started training again a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and you're in full preparation already of Classics season. In what state were you last year at this time?
Obviously in a different state. I crashed out of the Vuelta that year, and I think end of November was a bit the time where I was still balancing rehab and starting up proper training. So a bit in between everything. So definitely not in as good condition as I am now, and for sure mentally it's been a way better winter where I had really time to relax and to enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah, that's a big difference, I guess, being able to relax and enjoy compared to doing rehab.
Exactly, yeah. Last year, in hindsight, maybe even made the wrong decision to not take a proper holiday, but at that time, I wanted to come back as quick as possible and start working on my injury as soon as possible. So, eventually we didn't even had a proper break where I was able to enjoy my family and stuff like that. So I was more than welcome to do it differently this year.
What's it like for you going through a winter where you feel or you know you have to make up something?
It's like a constant pressure on you, because you feel like fighting against the time. Season is coming, you meet your teammates who are doing differently already, and I always feel like running behind a little bit. So it's definitely not relaxing, and this winter even maybe the whole part after the Tour de France felt more like not too much pressure, and how I feel now is that it was something I really needed for a while already, like a longer break of the big pressure that we have to handle as professionals.
How did you start the cycling, the road season in 2025? How did you feel?
I think I felt pretty good. Managed to do some good cyclocross races still in January, and then towards the first road races I felt like I'm probably not as good as the year before, but I'm kind of where I want to be. But I also do remember that both Classica Cayenne and Volta Algarve I didn't have the great feeling that I was looking for, and so didn't have in the opening weekend. So the first couple of races were not really satisfying.
And then you went to altitude camp and you came back for the big goals. Mm-hmm. Did you feel at the start of that block you were in top shape?
Actually, yes. I couldn't show it straight away in E3 Classic, but on the altitude camp I felt shape improving, and felt like everything will come around just on the right time, and was quite confident coming down from the volcano in Tenerife. But like I said already in E3 Classic, I think was quite a difficult race, and should be also not a problem if you come from altitude just 2 days before. But with lacking this confidence boost before, it was mentally tough to be just 1 week before Tour of Flanders, the big goal, and still didn't find the feeling where I was looking for. So then Dwars door Vlaanderen, I felt way better, and I could really decide the race together with my teammates. We know how that race ended, and not how we wanted, but yeah, from a performance point of view, that was really good.
Yeah, that was my next question. Do we need to talk about that again? We already did, I guess no.
Yeah.
But no, my main question actually about that is, what did you take away from that? Because like, even though like the tactical things that went wrong, it might have been the first time since La Vuelta that you will have gotten the feeling that you were able to decide the race or not.
Yeah, let's say the first 24 hours, something after the race, I was only disappointed on how we raced in the final, and how we actually screwed up an ideal situation. Like I said, that at the time I felt really responsible for the decisions we made, and I felt not good that I was actually not myself in the moment, because I would always prefer someone of the team winning instead of only winning myself. But I think after being with the boys for these hours in the next training ride, and we were able to turn the page, and then I could also feel like, okay, yesterday was probably my best race in a long while. First time since the injury, like you mentioned, that I felt that good. So going towards Tour of Flanders, it was actually still a confidence boost I got from this race, and I went into Tour of Flanders with a good feeling.
Yeah, how do you look back on Flanders?
Just happy, especially because I think Tadej and Mathieu were the strongest in the race, but still I felt like I managed to really race for the win and try to use the few opportunities that were there to attack from them on. So it was a shame I just missed out on the podium. But also on the other hand, the two guys that beat me in the sprint for second were better at that moment. So like I said, especially happy how me, Tish and Matteo raced to come back to the front, and then doing attack before the Quaremont. I think it was a good thing to do, and with a bit of luck, maybe they look a bit longer to each other, and I have actually a real chance of surviving the climb.
Mm-hmm. And Roubaix, how do you look back on Roubaix?
Not as positive as on Tour of Flanders. I had, especially after Flanders, high hopes also for Roubaix, and I could feel in Flanders I lacked maybe the explosivity, but I was really strong in the final hour, and something that's really, really good to have in Roubaix, where it's more of a savage race where everybody dies at some point. So I was looking forward to it, but I crashed in the run into the first sector, and basically the whole first part until Arenberg I was always on the back foot and never in a great position. Lost some energy there, and also wasn't really confident. Then managed to be in a good position in Arenberg, but did a really bad passage there. Was in the chase again, and only in the last 30-40k I start to believe that I could still battle for a podium spot, because before that I was actually more focusing on Matthew and trying to give him the opportunity to do a nice result, because I felt like we were really far behind. I got fourth in the end, the same result, but with a completely different feeling.
Mm-hmm. If I look back at both races, I also got the feeling that the team was getting there again. You had Tish and Matteo in Flanders in support, a really strong team effort, I would say. And in Roubaix you had Matthew along the way for a very long time. How do you look at the team performance after all these months now?
Yeah, I think really good. We did what we could. We were the only team there with numbers, but yeah, like I said before, unfortunately there were two guys who were really strong in these races, and even with the numbers we had there, the race explodes so early on that it's difficult to give them competition with being there with multiple riders. But yeah, we did what we could, and we helped each other. Thies and Matteo was of course not a surprise for me to meet them in the final. Having met you in Paris-Roubaix was a real eye-opener for everyone, but also for me. Such a young guy being there was really, really cool. And with the whole idea of still missing Christophe in these races, I think we showed again that we're one of the strongest teams.
Mm-hmm. After that, you continued for Flèche Brabançon and Amstel. I think all in all, you had a very good, decent spring campaign. You just missed out on the victory. Did that sting?
Yeah, to be honest, I missed out on one podium in one of the monuments. I think I had it in my legs with a bit of luck or a different scenario. And then also, either Brabant-Sepel or Dwars door Vlaanderen should have been a win. Especially Dwars door Vlaanderen should have been a win of the team. To be in that shape still the week after Roubaix was really good. And also Amstel Gold Race went really good. I was always there, but just missed the final percentage.
And then came really quickly already your next goal. You were looking forward to the Giro for a long time. But there also something happened in preparation. How did you line up in Tirana?
Yeah, I came to the start with mixed feelings again, unfortunately, and I think especially mentally was pretty rough to stay positive, because straight after Amstel, almost a few days later, when I wanted to start a short preparation for the Giro, I got sick and couldn't barely train actually in between this few weeks in between the races. So coming to the start was definitely not nice to feel like I lost some shape again. And the first weekend in Albania and Tirana was something that should really suit me. But with the legs I had at the time, I couldn't match the best riders. Or I could match Pedersen on the first day, which was kind of a surprise. Almost forgot about that. Was still pretty close, but I think that was just that one day where I showed off the talent I have and the freshness I got after the easy days. But then the next day in the TT, I couldn't hide anymore that the legs were not as good as I want.
How did you keep the focus throughout that first week?
I didn't really keep it, to be honest. You were also there. I think at some point we were even close to deciding what's next in this race. Is it possible to still improve or not? Especially after coming in Italy, I felt even worse after the rest day, and I think only just before the weekend of the first week I started to feel better, and we kind of stayed in the race at that time because we knew I could improve in the race because I was completely healthy again, and it would give me some possibilities later in the race, but for sure it would be a good training for the Tour de France already. So I think that was kind of the mindset we had actually in the first week.
Yeah, and then came your day. I have to be honest and say that this was one of the most special races I think I've ever witnessed live. And it was because everything came together there, I think. The waiting, the fact that it was also a special stage, both for you and also for the race. The finish in it was sort of like a stadium, which is also very rare for cycling. The crowd that went crazy, and also then, the climax of the race, because usually when you go to the finish with one other rider, you're the favorite. But in this case, with this finish, maybe not so, to be honest. But tell me, how did it feel crossing the finish line there?
Crossing the finish line was it's a really special feeling. I couldn't believe it. Like, I would have easily believed it if somebody would tell me a few weeks before, when I was still in good health and good preparation. But then how I got in the race and how I felt in these first stages, I never thought I would have a chance to win that stage, especially not from the GC group. I remember in the morning I was so focused on being in a big breakaway, because I thought that would be the scenario that would turn out the real scenario. But then break went up the road with only 5 guys, and chase didn't immediately start, and then I thought, there's my chance, this is over. So even in the race I had not really big belief, but then eventually everything turned my way. I could follow the techs in the bunch. I was on the wheel of Bernal and Del Toro, and I had the luxury of having Simon behind, which was our GC guy. So obviously it was not up to me to work with these guys, and just sitting on their wheel was hard enough. Especially Del Toro really gave me a hard time to get to the finish, and then my experience and my winner's mentality, I think, came in the final few kilometers. I was completely dead, but I still believed I could have a chance. I knew the final few corners by heart, and I knew where I had to pass him. So I also have still goosebumps if I think about that moment. It was the moment I met my family after 10 days in the race. I didn't see them at the start or something. They were just there to wait for me before the rest day, and a bit exaggerated probably, but it felt like it was just meant to be, that it had to go like that. And that was one of the best moments of the year.
I think there's very few occasions where I've seen you lost for words. Mm-hmm. I think that was one. Do you know what happened a bit after the finish, because you were so like ecstatic and jumping up and down? And
I can't remember 100%, but I was, like I mentioned before, I found some confidence, like I think I can do it. I want to pass him on that part, but another part of my head was still like, no, not again second. No, I don't want to drop on this climb and do all these efforts for just a place of honor again. So both this confidence and the being afraid of what would happen was a tiny line, let's say, and that I managed to make it something positive. That was a big explosion of happiness, and it was also except for cyclocross, my first win since having a really rough season in 24. So I think all that gave a lot of emotions.
And then it was like the train got rolling again. It was like vintage Wout van Aert for the final part of the Giro, helping Olaf win stages and helping Simon win the GC. Did it feel also vintage Wout for you?
The way how I raced, yes, it was definitely nice to have every single day something to do and a great goal with the team. The way how I felt, I think I was coming closer to the level where I belong, but I was definitely not feeling as good as I was ever feeling or something. So it was definitely a really good end to the Giro, but it was not yet the legs of, for example, Vuelta 24 or Tour de France 22. So in that case it was different, but the penultimate stage where I could help Simon on Overcol del Finestre obviously come pretty close to these moments.
Mm-hmm. Was it a good experience all in all, your first Giro?
Yeah, I really liked the race, and it's completely different vibe than I experienced in the Tour. People are very enthusiastic about the race, but still everything is just a tiny bit smaller and than in the Tour. I did enjoy the race, that's for sure, and how we raced with Simon as a leader, but not not the big favorite. We had also a lot of goals with me and Olaf to win stages, and yeah, this is what I really like about cycling too, and especially about Grand Tour racing, to have something every day.
So you mentioned it yourself. Up next, Tour de France.
Yeah.
How did you line up there?
Believe it or not, but actually the month in between was again a pretty tricky month. Had an almost crash on training just when we came to altitude camp in Tignes. Didn't really mention that before, I think, but I had a small knee injury just in the middle part between the Tour and the Giro, which was a bit of a setback. And then, yeah, I managed to train really hard still in the last week before Nationals. Went home from altitude straight to Nationals, and yeah, I got sick the night before. Had a good stomach flu, and I recovered in the week before the Tour, but I still remember the Wednesday before the Tour I did one good training with some efforts before I would travel to the start in Lille, and I was completely cooked after a 3-hour session with just some efforts. So going to the start again was not really with the feeling you want. You want this last training to feel really good, and you want to feel ready. You want to gain confidence from the efforts you're doing, but it was definitely not the case.
So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that we tried everything as a team to win the GC there.
Yeah.
But I also heard from everyone that it was so hard, such a hard, especially the first 10 days, that we made it hard. How was that? How did that feel for you as a rider?
Yeah, it was pretty strange, because how I was going at the first stages, I was definitely not strong enough to make my own results, which was actually the goal before the race, to have also me in the final to go for results, but also to be there for Jonas and Matteo. So yeah, there were a couple of days where I felt a bit useless, like didn't have the legs for myself, but also not to help the team. And on top of that, we wanted to make the race hard, so it was a lot of things crossing through my mind, and made it a really difficult week to come over. So yeah, definitely not no real satisfaction yet there. Yeah.
And you still had Paris in your mind all the time, or?
It would be a good story if I say yes now, but the truth is, like, I think the Toulouse stage changed a bit. Like there, I felt I actually was, in my belief, strong enough to win the race. But yeah, I liked a good situation, and maybe should have tactically played it also different as a team. So I think there, after the race, from a performance perspective, I thought like, okay, I'm better than I was in the first week, so still want to try it in the opportunities that are coming. So every small opportunity we tried. I was in the break in the Carcassonne stage. I tried a late attack on the sprint stage in was 8:17 or 18, something like that. Yeah, and then actually the whole last weekend was in my mind, but stage 20 I was just not good enough to make it to the break. So I don't know how I did it, but straight in the race I started thinking still on Paris, and also something in my head said like, okay, it's not a lot of people gonna be doing everything right also for that last day, and I was really focused on still focusing until the very end of the race. So yeah, let's say only the penultimate day it was a main focus. I knew that stage was coming and would be an opportunity, but really believing in that I could win came only actually the day before.
Actually, when you look at it on television, it looks quite slippery.
Mm-hmm.
But how slippery was it? Because it looked like really technical.
Yeah, it was quite technical. Yeah, given the rain, is a very technical circuit, and probably it was slippery, but not as slippery as you think. And I guess I felt quite confident on the bike that day, and yeah, the legs were there. The race situation was really good with having a small group, and so yeah, for sure the final few kilometers I took quite some risks, but it didn't feel like that. It felt like everything was in control.
That's a good mindset, I guess.
Yeah. And also, that's a material thing, but the race is so short with an easy part in the beginning, so I also gambled like, okay, I'm gonna put wide tires, really low pressure, because I would not lose energy because of the easy start. And then I had the perfect setup for the finale, so that was also, a good choice.
Yeah, you didn't have to make any compromises.
No, exactly.
And then, crossing the finish line there, did it feel similar to Siena?
Well,
Not the first asking this question, I guess, but
it feels special, obviously, because you can feel it's a special place in cycling, and it doesn't happen too often arriving alone on the Champs-Élysées, so that soaks in on the moment. But what you have in Siena, like you mentioned, the arena feeling, that the noise, the crowd, you can feel literally next to you. It's the complete opposite on the Champs-Élysées. It feels like people are miles away from you because the road is so wide. And I was so much into my effort until the final straight. Only then, I realized I was far ahead of the others, and also I couldn't really hear anything in the radio anymore. So only the last moments I realized what was happening. Really cool, but very different.
we saw some images from Matteo and Victor, but how did you celebrate in Paris?
I think I rode straight into the arms of Richard.
That we all saw.
And then I probably found my way to my wife as well. She was hiding behind him. And what I do remember, what was really cool and made it a very special moment, was we also were about to win the Team GC. So the whole team could come to the changing room because, in the end we all needed to go to the podium. We knew that up front. But that made it really cool for me. I could see Edo, Simon, Sepp, all the guys who were not really part of the final of the race were there to celebrate with me, and that was a huge relief.
Yeah, there was a special moment in a tent somewhere on the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah, exactly. It's still cycling. We're still changing in a random tent next to the finish line.
So after peaking to the Classics, Giro and Tour, you still continued racing until mid-September, but I think some rest was needed at that point. You already mentioned it yourself. What did you do for off-season?
A lot of things. We went to Marbella, having the last bit of warmth of the season, the end of September, and had a really good holiday with the kids. Straight from there on to Disneyland. A bit different vibe than the coastline in Spain, but to see this, my two little boys, being amazed about everything that's going on there was also a cool weekend, obviously. And then had some time at home. Was on a trip to Italy with my wife, which was also really, really welcome, of course. So did quite some things.
You went to LA?
After I started training, I went even to LA. So I travel more in the off season than I was traveling after the Tour de France. But I liked it. It was like I said before, something I really needed, I think. And I feel really hungry already at this moment. So I think that's all good signs.
All right. Final question then. What can we wish you for 2026?
It sounds silly, but just a smooth running into my main objectives. I think the classics are still a huge target. The two monuments on the cobbles, something I want to keep trying. Getting there without any doubt in my head and the confidence that I won, that would be amazing, and then we will race for it.
All right, let's aim for that. Thanks for joining us, Wout. To our listeners and viewers, I would like to say don't forget to subscribe or comment to our podcast or the YouTube app. Make sure to listen also to the other episodes of the off-season tapes, because there's some very interesting insights in there, and see you next time.
Inside the Beehive was brought to you by Visma, Cervelo and Lease.